They say change is not easy. Well, I'm here to prove to you that change is necessary in order for you to be successful and create something out of nothing. In order for you to develop and build your core values and achieve all the milestones you've ever dreamt of. This is your Strategic Partner Podcast. Welcome to your Strategic Partner Podcast, where we give entrepreneurs the secrets, strategies, and processes to increase brand equity and max out revenue. Hey, everybody, Mehdaoui in here. And oh my goodness, I am so excited. Our very first podcast in 2021. And oh my goodness, I got a rock star, a superstar, an incredible human being for you, an amazing of an entrepreneur, someone that I actually have been collaborating and working with for the last going on 13 months, maybe even 12 to 13 months now. And the reason I am selfishly excited about her, because I actually got to see her when she was in her cocoon before she's become the butterfly that she is today. She is an amazing mama of three amazing children. She's a fantastic wife to an incredible husband, and she's a heck of an entrepreneur. She and I collaborated and she's created on her own right a campaign called Retire at 30 or the Rap Hack. And couldn't be more proud, more excited to introduce her to you because she's multiple streams earner. I guarantee you she will be a trainer in mega stages, TEDx. She will be a speaker of all speakers, because if you knew this individual and have the privilege to see what she does with us every single day, you too will see what I'm seeing. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Allie D.
Thank
What's
you
going
so much
on?
for that introduction. I appreciate it. It's a privilege to be here. Thanks for inviting me on.
I am excited, and I've been looking forward to this specifically because I got to see your very beginning of your speaking career, and here you are now, a master trainer within 6 continents. People get to see, hear, and see you do what you do. So first and foremost, for those who might not have had the privilege to hear your greatness like I do, tell us a little bit about your upcoming, how it all began for you to get to the point where, all right, I think entrepreneurship is the way for me to go. And then we can dig a little bit more into that.
Yeah, absolutely. First, I wanted to mention, so you talked about how you've seen me, grow as a speaker and such. And that's pretty funny you mentioned that today, because today on my Facebook memories came the first Facebook Live that I did as an entrepreneur to introduce myself and what I was doing. And yeah, to watch that and see the progression was really, really cool today. So yeah, so entrepreneurship for me, that idea all began when I was in high school, 16, 17 years old. My dad has always encouraged me to go my own path and, to create different ways of income, to not be closed-minded when it comes to that. And I mean, he has his own business, and so he really opened my eyes to that. So by the time I was 18, I was looking into different online marketing, companies that are out there, and I did those on and off for nearly 10 years. I just couldn't find one that really fit well with me. I had struggled to build a team. I struggled to get sales. I just struggled. And part of it was training, but another part of it was my mindset and where I was in life, and some of the things that have come out of my life. And so I did that for a while, and then I gave it up. And then when my life got a little bit more stable, I started thinking about it again, right? I think as entrepreneurs, we just know when we have that calling for something more. So even though it wasn't working out for me and I was struggling, I kept coming back. I kept feeling that calling. So I gave it another shot, and it's gone wonderful this time. But this time it's been a difference in where I am in life. It's been a difference of the mentorship that I've had, and it's been a difference on accepting change and how to add, like, how do I say that? How to adapt that in your life and move forward from things.
Yeah, well, I got a million questions that I want to ask right now. So I'm sure those of you who are listening are wondering the same exact thing. You said you started this journey at 16. So you've mentioned that your parents, your father specifically, always told you don't be closed-minded, continue on, develop, yourself for bigger and greater things. Tell us a little bit about that relationship, and how it really indirectly impacted you of who you've become as not only a woman but an entrepreneur today.
Yeah, so yeah, it was mostly, my mom was a stay-at-home mom growing up. So, her take on work was, you just do what you got to do and work if you have to have a job. But my dad was just really big on entrepreneurship and being open-minded. So that really impacted me. From my teenage years, I always wanted to earn my own money too, right? My parents were, upper middle class, and so they could afford to give me allowance or do other things, but I wanted to earn my own money and didn't want to be dependent on them. And so I would do different things. I mean, really, even since I was a younger kid, right? We all have had a lemonade stand or, something like that. I did that. I would go knocking on doors, see if I could do light yard work and things like that. But in my teen years, I mean, I made jewelry. I did some, like, bracelet making and would sell them to some people. My mom and I had a soap making business that we tried out. And so I've done a number of different things. But like I said, once I turned 18 and realized I could make money online, that really struck my interest. But yeah, my dad's a huge part of my desire to be an entrepreneur. And to this day, he supports me in what I'm doing right now. He's been very encouraging, even when my mom or others are like, "What exactly are you doing online? What exactly is this business you're doing?" My dad gets it, and he knows what I'm doing, and he knows how I'm branding myself and how I'm becoming this entrepreneur.
Right on. Well, kudos to you, Dad. You did it. You did it. Starting young, 16, 17, 18, the average entrepreneur that I've worked with and or want to be an entrepreneur, they always have this mindset of, I gotta wait until I'm a little bit more settled. I gotta wait until I have my bills in order. I gotta wait until I have my responsibilities done. Or even the younger crowd, like I know my brother, 25-year-old, brilliant mind, but he says, I want to get the party out of my life before I get serious into business. Can you help us understand, how does a 16, 17, 18-year old get into the mindset of, no, I'm going to do it young? And what are some of the benefits of starting young?
Well, I think the mindset, perhaps I was just kind of born with it. I just dove right into it. I didn't let things like that stop me. And again, it was the way I think my parents, especially my dad, raised me of, you jump into it, you're going to give it your all. If you find something you're passionate about, go for it. And then we find a way to meet the needs that we need. So if you need more income to start a business, you work regular jobs if you have to make that money, and you save up for it. And so if you want something bad enough, you find a way to make it happen. And so that's one of the big things that they've definitely taught me. And one of the huge perks of starting early is that you've had time to make your mistakes, right? And to learn from your mistakes, because there are lots of mistakes that are made, and not just because you're doing the wrong thing, or you're being irresponsible. You don't know any better. It's not a typical job like when you get trained for your 9 to 5 type job. You don't have that type of training often unless you invest in it, financially. And so it takes that time to learn what you're doing right, what you need to work on, and how to properly do it. And so yeah, starting early, I've learned a lot in that time frame.
Wow, that's amazing, and good way of looking at it, and I definitely share that with you. You've mentioned that as you started to get into the online space and try to develop organizations, it was a struggle for you, whether it was sales, whether it was customer acquisition, or building a team. So, what do you think changed over the last 10 years since you've started to where you are right now, where whether you've mastered it or you're just more comfortable with developing organizations or acquiring clientele? Like, what happened that made that transition for you?
So I think there's three things. First one is mentorship, right? That really changes the game. If you can invest in some mentorship, and get around the right type of people, and that's really going to help you change your outlook on things, the way you're doing things, right? You're going to know what to do. The second part is my mindset. My mindset definitely changed. I went from being much younger and more immature and going after that shiny object syndrome and just going after things that seemed bigger and better. I didn't have the patience. I didn't have patience to really build a team, because when I say I struggle to build a team, that means for me that if I didn't have a team within 6 months, if I didn't have more than 5 people, if I wasn't making, $1,000 a month or more, that I was just going to give up. That I wanted to make, $10,000 a month, and it wasn't happening within 6 months. So I would give up. So my mindset changed. And I think, like I said, some of that just comes as you get older, right? We become a little bit more mature. We've had some life experience. We've become a little bit more settled. And then the third part, though, what's also really changed is my perception of me, and that is key. It's how you view yourself. So I've gone through quite a few things in my lifetime, and even as a teenager, before I went through a lot of the struggles that I've experienced, I didn't have a very strong outlook on myself. Other people built me up. My parents built me up. Other people in my churches, they always thought highly of me, but I didn't think highly of myself. And I'm not too sure why, but I didn't. And then that carried over into my young adulthood. And it's only been recently, thanks to a lot of the mentorship that I have now, that I've learned how to view myself in a different way. And that's changed. And what I've noticed, that as I viewed myself differently and as I think more highly of myself, so do others that are watching me. And it's that whole like attraction marketing and the vibration that you put out. And so as soon as I started thinking more highly of myself, so did others.
Right on. Limited beliefs and vibration. You guys got to stick with me. We'll be right back after the short break, and then we're going to dig a little bit more into that personal change. Stick around. Hey, Ali Mehdaoui here, the author of The Lion Network Marketer. You may be one of the 47,000 people who have purchased the original book 5 years ago, but today we have recorded the audiobook version. But for every chapter from 2016's launch, we've added a new chapter from 2020. Pick up your copy today at no cost to you in winwithali.com. Hey, welcome back. Your strategic partner podcast, Ali Mehdaoui in here. And I got the amazing Allie Delotelle, aka Ali D. So we got to dig a little bit into the personal struggle, because that's really the root cause of everything that is limiting beliefs. And then we want to kind of open up a little bit into what did you practice from a practical standpoint, not just a motivation, but a practical standpoint. What did you do to create change? So let's dig into some of the things that you struggled with. And, you and I are both what I like to call, we're believers. And as believers, we use our own pains, our own scars to heal everybody else, to show testimony that I've been there, done that, and I know for a fact that you can do it. So, what can you share to the level that you want to share about some of the struggles you had to endure in order to create a foundation of who you are today?
Yeah. So yeah, the struggles that I've endured. So I view a lot of my struggles as self-inflicted pain, right? I grew up in a typical Leave It to Beaver family, is what I call it, right? Everything was real great. Two parents love each other. I was homeschooled. All this greatness. And when I moved out when I was 20, I decided that I wanted to do life on my own and a little differently and have a more exciting life. And so that I did, but not in the best way. And so, long story short, I got caught up in the wrong people. I got caught up in the wrong things. I fell for someone head over heels that was not good for me, and that started leading to a life of drug abuse. And so I was a heroin and crack cocaine addict on and off for almost 6 years, and I was in a toxic relationship. And then I've out of that, I've had two beautiful children with this guy, and so that came. But through drug abuse and toxic relationship, there's a lot of damage that comes, for a person, and my view of myself, as I said before, already wasn't that strong. Now is even lower. And again, because I know that I put myself in a lot of those situations, I think that made it even lower too, because I did this to myself. So, I had a really, really poor view of myself. And those type of struggles will make anyone, have guilt and shame and struggle to make the changes necessary to overcome that. And so that's a process that I've been working on a lot in the last 4 years. But especially this past year, 2020 for me was definitely a year of growth.
Yeah, that's amazing. And first and foremost, kudos to you. The true superhero only becomes as such when they heal from their own wounds, right? Superman had to be shot at to realize, wait a minute, I can handle these bullets. I'm Superman. Wonder Woman didn't know how great she was until, people started throwing stuff at her. So, um, you know, kudos to you for becoming the superhero that we all need you to be. Because I'm sure you would agree with me right now, there are millions of people all around the world who may still be going through that point that you've overcome. And hearing your voice, hearing that there is hope, there are possibilities. It doesn't matter how hurt you are, yes, you can get yourself out as well. And I'm grateful that I have the privilege to share this platform with you, just to let the world know that yes, you can, no matter what. So, talk to us about some of the things that you've implemented to get yourself out of that bad situation. Because I know you didn't just wake up one day like, okay, I'm a changed woman. I know it was hard. I know you had to do certain things and build certain routines. So, walk us through the necessary change that needed to happen in order to have the greatness that is happening for you today.
Yeah, yeah. Along that journey there were many days where I would wake up and say, "This is the day that's going to be different. I am a changed woman today." But it's not as as simple as that, right? And I would say that, and then 20 minutes later, be back using drugs, or fall back into the relationship that I was trying to get away from, or whatever it was. It's so easy to say today's the day, but to actually do it. Because change is hard. Even if it's a positive change, it's hard for us. And one of the biggest things that I've learned is there's never a right time to do a difficult thing. And what I mean by that is we oftentimes wait for a perfect timing for something to make a change. All right, when I get these finances, or when this happens in my life, or when there's a clear sign, or whatever it is, but we wait for a perfect timing before we go through the change. And I've learned that when you are going to get out, especially of a bad situation, but whenever you're going to make that change, you just have to do it. You just have to go forward and do it. Stop waiting for that right time. And only you can make that change. And that was a hard thing for me. I wanted someone to make the change for me, or make decisions for me. You think back to your childhood years when your parents made all your decisions for you and you couldn't wait to make your own decisions. And here I've been many times in situations where I'm like, it's a hard decision. Do I leave? Do I stay? Do I do this? Do I not? And I just wish someone would make the decisions for me. I didn't want to be held responsible for my own decisions, but only you can make that change and make that decision to do that. And it comes down to your mindset. So that's what really happened for me, is working on my mindset too. I had to go from being self-absorbed to focusing on my children. Right. So when I got out of that lifestyle, I had two young children at the time. I now have a third with my current husband, but I had two, and so it had to be my mindset change. Do I keep doing this for myself, or do I make the change for my family that's necessary? And it's a mindset change in viewing the circumstances that seem so negative and so dark, and just overcoming drug addiction alone is a very, very dark process to go through. It's very difficult physically, emotionally, mentally. It's very hard. And so you have to change your mindset to this feels impossible. This isn't worth it. This is too much. I mean, your mind's telling you all sorts of crazy lies, but you have to change yourself to, I'm going to get through this. Day by day, moment by moment. It's that mindset shift. And the same for when I was going through this toxic relationship, which I feel in some ways that's had more of an effect on me than the drug abuse did. That's been a harder thing for me to overcome. And so it's been a mindset change of, I maybe miss the way things were, to I'm not going back to that. I'm going to keep pushing forward. And so that leads me to my last point of what I've done for change, and that's just doing it. right? Just make the change, just do what needs to be done. So often we think about it, or we're thinking, oh, I should do this or I shouldn't do that, or waiting again for that perfect time. Just do it. You have to keep doing it and going forward. And it gets easier. It's never fully easy. Like I said, we always resist change, but it gets easier.
It's so interesting. As I hear you speak, I hear the same fundamentals when we're talking to somebody about building their own businesses. It's just doing it,
Yeah.
creating a positive distraction from those hard moments. Being an entrepreneur could be a lonely path, like, do you think, based on what you just shared with us, that that experience, the dark path that you had to go through, the pain, the agony, is the same formula that you had to go through as an entrepreneur to become who you are today in some sort of way?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's why it stuck with me this time, because my life experiences that I've gone through now have taught me how to endure pain, how to endure the hard times, how to endure feeling lonely, all of those things. And to be patient and to work hard. And like you said, just do it, just make, the next move that you have to do to keep going forward, taking it day by day, not getting overwhelmed at the big picture. All of those things I've had life lessons. And when I was unsuccessful with entrepreneurship before, I hadn't learned any of those things yet. I had a really simple life before then, and I didn't know patience, and I didn't know what hard times were like. And so yes, I do definitely think that those life lessons that I've learned, as hard as they have been, have prepared me for today, and not just prepared me in a way that has taught me how to endure entrepreneurship, but it's given me a voice for others, because I have found there are plenty more entrepreneurs. The majority of us a we've had a rough past, or a hard story that we all have, can share. And so going through that has now given me a voice in my entrepreneurship as well.
That was amazing. Is all I can say. When we return, we're going to talk about some of the things that Ali D is doing today to create the greatness that I get to witness, and if she actually deals with trauma and triggers from those days in the past. We'll be right back. Hi, my name is Ali Mehdaoui, and I have spoken over 500 conferences in 3 languages, including TEDx and many Fortune 100 companies, sold books in 7 countries, and I focus on helping struggling entrepreneurs to leverage social media and the digital space to create brand equity and revenue. Visit me today at winwithali.com and let me show you how we can grow your financial bottom line and help you expand with momentum. Welcome back. Your strategic partner here, Ali Mehdaoui, and I got Ali D. This is the first time we have Ali and Ali. So let's get right into where we left off. You've mentioned a lot of dark things that have happened that you had to overcome. And I know myself, as a former just cigarette smoker, I would walk by somebody who's smoking and I wish I can just get a drag. It still gets to me. Now, I'm not necessarily asking about the drugs or drug abuse or using or anything like that. I'm talking about, do you find yourself at any time falling in the trap of trauma, of triggers, or certain elements that bring you right back into that mindset?
Yeah, 4 years later, they still do happen. They're still triggers. Our mind is so powerful. And so something as simple as a scent, or the way that the air feels outside. Like, so fall and January time, so like from November to January, is a time for me that certain times of that year when it's really cool and a nice, like, well, I'm in Florida, so it's really cool and like crisp fall day. Um that feeling will send triggers, because those were really rough times for me, that season. And sometimes music, there's certain songs that I love the song, but it's songs that I listen to during that period of my life, so that can send triggers. And sometimes I'm triggered just by a dream. Maybe I don't even really remember it, but there's been, several times where I just wake up and I'm kind of in that half asleep, half awake state, and I have like a craving for the drug, or missing the toxic relationship, or something that is bringing me back right to that place. And it is hard to deal with at times, but I've learned different tools, so to speak, to help me get through it. And it's really just grounding yourself in what reality is and where you are, and staying moving forward.
That's great. And I relate with you in so many ways to that. Personally, I grew up in a very, very abusive family. Homeless, physically abused, sexually abused, thrown out by my own father. Which, by the way, Dad, I love you. We're overcoming it. We're good. It's been years. We're okay. But I get it. When things happen, that'll bring you right back into that place itself. One of the things that I know about you, and if any of our listeners are connected with you on social media, you're not only spiritual, you leverage the Holy Spirit, you leverage God to keep you on track. Talk to us a little bit about how does that play in your day? I mean, I wouldn't say that you're a religious person per se, but you're definitely someone who keeps God up front. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in the church. I actually brought I grew up with those Christian morals and pray before your meal and such, but like we wouldn't really go to church unless it was Easter and Christmas or, that type. So, I actually started riding my bike to the nearest church as a kid. So I have always had a connection with God. It was never forced upon me. And so all throughout my childhood years and teenage years, I had a very close relationship. I was always involved with the church, but it was definitely more religious at that point. And so, when I moved out, I strayed away from the church. I felt like they were being hypocrites and not there for me when I felt like I needed them. And we're all human, but I strayed away from the church. But every time I would go to a church service, like on Christmas or Easter, I would always feel that pull on my heart and that nudge. And I fought it for a long time. Well, when I finally decided to get my life back together and I moved from where I was living back home with my parents, I started going to a church again. And it was just there that, yeah, everything. I mean, I'm a firm believer in Christ and His grace that's been poured out for us, and yeah, it's definitely more spiritual. I can say now that I have felt Him rather than just like believing in something that I'm not sure really exists, and that's kind of how it was in my childhood years. And now I'm the type of person that I am very open and respectful of everyone's beliefs. I stand firm in mine. I know where I stand in there. I know where I'm going when I die, but I don't push my beliefs upon anyone. Just like if you ask me, I'll share it with you. If you follow me, you'll see that I post verses and sometimes Christian music, and that's because Christ got me through what I've been going through. And I look back on my life, even my darkest times, I can see now where His hand was guiding me and where I should have been 6 feet under. And here I am standing, today. And so, yeah, I see His hand in my life, and I have so many blessings from Him. And so, yeah, I'm grateful to Him, and so I'm not going to stop sharing about His love and His mercy and His grace that does exist.
That man, it came to my mind as soon as you said I should have been 6 feet under, but I'm 6 feet tall. Like no pun intended. If you guys and gals have met Allie D, she's tall. We gotta drill into one last piece that you opened up with. You said it was always about not quitting and understanding my calling. So, can you elaborate on that? Whether it was from a personal standpoint, because not quitting means that you have to overcome a lot of adversity and always and constantly change and try different things. Since we're talking about change here, what is the driving force for you, Ali D, to not quit and stick to your calling?
So I used to think that, now since I have kids, it was because of my kids and I need to do the best thing for them. And while they're a huge force behind what I do, the biggest force is that someone once said, and this just always stuck with me, that there are other people out there that are waiting for you to share your story, that need you to share your story, that you and only you can impact. And that really just spoke to me because, I could do a million other things to support my family and my kids and to give them a good life and, work just the regular corporate job. There's a lot of different things I could do, but to know that there are people out there waiting for me to share my story and people that only my voice is going to impact. Someone could have a very similar story as mine, but because it's the way that I deliver it and that I'm sharing it and my personal touch, to my story, my circumstances, that's going to impact someone. That's really the driving force behind my entrepreneurship is using my story and my skills to build a business, but to share that with others so that they have that same hope that they can do the same.
Well, I can tell you, we all are feeling that hope. We all are feeling that inspiration right now as we speak. You're absolutely the perfect example of a shiny angel amongst us. One of the things that many people, they always are looking for a burning bush. They're looking for the dove to come down. They're looking for the light, and most of us will freak out if that happens anyways in this day and age. But what I will tell you, my personal belief is that God uses people as angels that just look like us, and you are the epitome of that. You are bringing a big, huge spiritual mirror in front of everybody right now, and you're saying, "Look at yourself. Now look through the mirror. Here's what you can be." And we're so honored to have you in here. When we come back, we're gonna get a little bit more into who do you help, how do you help them, and the results that you create for them, and some of the things that you are achieving and establishing within your entrepreneurial tribe. So stick around. We'll be right back. Are you a hopeful or struggling entrepreneur? We'd like to introduce you to YEP, an entrepreneurial community that has expanded over 6 continents and helped over 5,000 individuals. The Young Entrepreneur Project would allow you to start, scale, or grow your business at the level you desire by providing you with a library of unlimited trainers and modules, a marketplace where you can lower all of your expenses, increase your capital, and even the opportunity to become a contributor, a speaker, and a trainer, or even get paid to mentor others within the platform. Learn more today at winwithallie.com. Welcome back, everybody. We're still with the one and only Allie D in the house with your strategic partner podcast. And let's get right into a different side of you. So we talked about who Allie D was. We talked about who Allie D has become. Now let's talk about what Allie D does. As a business trainer and a motivational speaker, you are impacting the world right now. I know that to be a fact because I see you doing it all day, every day. Tell us a little bit about who do you specifically help? Who is that person that is that qualified candidate for you to truly impact and create some results for?
So I help female entrepreneurs, those that feel, lost, broken, frustrated, the place that I have definitely been at in my business and in life. And that's who I help. And I help them, by rising above their past, their pain and their fears, so that they can achieve the success in their business and their life. And that part is really important to me, that it's not just focused on business or life, because they go hand in hand. And I've learned that you can only achieve so much success in life, whatever success looks like to you, if you haven't overcome those hard things that you're still carrying in your life. You're going to be kind of capped at a certain limit, on how much you can achieve until you let go of those burdens you're carrying.
What would be your message for that female entrepreneur that's listening to you right now, and she may be going through some of the things, or doesn't have to be the drug abuse, but just from a limited belief, some trauma, some trigger, some issues from the past that is still holding her to be the great person that she can be? What is your message to that individual?
My message would be to take it day by day. Sometimes you just have to take it moment by moment, to not be overwhelmed at the big picture, but to work on just being a better you each and every day. And though it may seem overwhelming, little by little, you'll start to emerge. As you had said earlier, I've I've emerged from this cocoon into a butterfly, and in that cocoon it seems dark and it seems like you're never going to get out, and you may be pushing against the walls, and you just feel like you're going to be stuck where you are forever. But you just keep on going through each day and trying to better yourself every day, and before too long you will emerge that beautiful butterfly.
What is your hope to achieve in this world? When it all comes down to it, what do you want to be remembered for?
I want to be remembered as someone who never gave up, and as someone who always strived to be better for herself and her family, for someone who spread, the good news that spread the message of Christ. So it's a couple things, but I think truly just want to be remembered as, if I was at my funeral, I'd want people to say that I was the one that never gave up and I always strived to be better for myself and my family.
Speaking of family, your husband and kids are listening right now. What's your message to them?
That I love you guys so much, and thank you for being my support and my rock, and for always being there for me, even on late nights that I might be working, and that you guys are my everything, and I couldn't do it without you.
Now, one of the things you've mentioned earlier at the top of this podcast, you said one thing that has changed for you over the 10 years to go from struggling with building and struggling with sales and customer acquisition was the right mentorship with the right people in the right community. Can you elaborate on that for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So mentorship makes all the difference. And what I mean that is that they help you stay on track. They help you see things that you can't see for yourself. They help remove the blind spots, of your business and of your life. So, I'm part of a community of other entrepreneurs, and I've gained the mentorship through them. And it's a variety of mentors, people that have done all sorts of different things, whether it's affiliate marketing, network marketing, coaching, whatever they've done. And so they all provide a different view on things and different expertise. But the biggest part is just having someone there that sees the things that you don't see. And that's probably one of the biggest things that I've gotten out of it. And having that support when you have hard days. We talked earlier about how being an entrepreneur can be lonely and frustrating and can be a dark place, just, comparing it to the struggles that I've had personally. And so having others there that can walk with you and help you feel, not so alone, and remind you that you will get through this dark period. It's very encouraging, and it keeps you motivated, and it really strengthens you to continue on with entrepreneurship.
Simply wow. We'll be right back after this quick break, and I'm going to give you my personal final remarks and everything that I personally have learned from Allie D that I think will be of importance to you. Stick around. Hi, my name is Ali Mehdaoui, and I have spoken over 500 conferences in 3 languages, including TEDx and many Fortune 100 companies, sold books in 7 countries, and I focus on helping struggling entrepreneurs to leverage social media and the digital space to create brand equity and revenue. Visit me today at winwithali.com and let me show you how we can grow your financial bottom line and help you expand with momentum. First and foremost, I am so grateful and honored that you've given me the opportunity to have you here on your strategic partner podcast. And the reason I say that is because I know this audio that everybody's listening to is going to last forever and it's going to impact many people. So thank you from the bottom of all of our hearts and on behalf of the listeners. I'd like to give you 1 minute to give us any final remarks, anything that you feel you want to double down or you feel like you have not given us just yet. And for that one person on the far right corner of the room that still has, their heads on their knees and they're looking down and they're not feeling that their time is now. What is that 1 minute message to that person?
Well, remember, there's never a right time to do a difficult thing. So my message for you is to get up and make the change that needs to be made. You can either sit and be miserable at where you are in life, or you can do the hard thing and make the change and keep going with it day by day and watch yourself just bloom into someone that you probably never think that you could become. But you just keep at it, and you will bloom. You'll bloom into this amazing person. And it's never too late. It's never too late to change the way your life has been.
Awesome stuff. And again, thank you so much, Ali D. Ladies and gentlemen, I know I've gotten so much value out of today's episode, but just in the case that you are distracted or driving or whatever the case may be, I want to just highlight some of the things that I have learned from this episode. First things first, if you are a parent, understand that helping that child develop with a mindset that yes, you can, yes, you should, you definitely need to be open minded makes a mega difference on their development, whether it's personal or business development. I certainly will be doing a lot more of that with our son, Sebastian and Isabel. The other thing that I've learned is start young. When you start young, you don't have the mortgage just yet. You don't have the heavy responsibilities, and you can afford to make some mistakes. So encourage the young ones around you to fall forward and fall early. And if you are in the mindset of entrepreneurship, it's okay to start right now. The earlier, the better that it will be. The other thing that I've learned is you're going to struggle. It's not going to be easy. You're not going to be a top producer, builder, sales, the superstar that you always want to be. But if you have the mindset of not quitting and continuing on for the sake of your calling, for the sake of your purpose, it shall work and it will work. The last piece is regardless to the trauma, regardless to the trigger, to maintain some positive distractions, to maintain God within, to maintain people around you that will keep you moving forward, that will keep helping you out. And that happens through mentorship. A lot of people confuse mentorship for coaching. Coaching is for a specific specialty. Mentorship is having a big brother or big sister to just guide you and help you out, look after you, listen to you, give you those two ears and a cold, or not a cold shoulder, a warm shoulder to lean on and cry at times. I know for a fact that I have my mentors that I've called many times in tears because I've had things that I needed to work on. So I pray that you've received the proper information out of this episode. I pray that you have taken some golden nuggets that you will implement and apply. And make sure you check out the copy on everything that you've heard today right in the comment section. And I will include Ali D's personal Facebook connection, Instagram connection link, and any contact info that we are going to be okayed to provide to you. That way you can connect with her directly in any way, shape, form, or capacity. And remember, within your strategic partner podcast, we work with struggling entrepreneurs to leverage social media in a digital space to create brand equity and revenue. And we know for a fact that your time is right now. Until next time, this has been an exclusive with Ali D. It's your boy, Ali Mehdaoui, your strategic partner. Peace out, everybody.